Hi, how are you? Hope you're well. So, today I am here to read for the very first time, physically, Book Lovers by Emily Henry. If I look a bit familiar to you, it's because I actually finished Great Big Beautiful Life recently. I did vlog that experience. I will link that down below for you. It just wasn't exactly what I was expecting, and so it was a weird reading situation. And so throughout a lot of it, for some unknown reason, Book Lovers kept popping into my mind, and I kept thinking, I want to read it, I want to read it, I want to read it, and I have no clue why. Obviously, I have read Book Lovers actually twice now, but I listened to it both times. The first time was a complete flop of an experience because there are some things that happen in the novel that just paralleled a bit close to my personal life at the time, and it made the reading experience very bitter for me because every time I picked up a book, which I read for escapism, every time I picked up a book to escape, I'm just confronted with issues in my real life. And so that kind of ruined it for me, and then I wanted to give it another shot, and so I listened to it again 2 years ago. I think it was right before or after Happy Place came out. It was right before Happy Place came out. I think it was in February of that year, and so it was only marginally better. And then I listened to Happy Place as an audiobook, and I realized that Emily Henry just is not an audiobook author for me. I need to physically read her books. Maybe upon rereads, I can audiobook her, but the first reads, I just don't connect with her in the way that I should be connecting with her when I listen to it. And so both Happy Place and Book Lovers, I feel, deserve a fair shot. Happy Place was a 5-star, but I don't remember any of the plot, and so I would like to give it another go physically to really get my true opinion. And then Book Lovers was a 3-star, and it was meh. But I keep hearing everybody loves it. A lot of people love this more than Beach Read, which I would pick Beach Read over Book Lovers every day. But then in terms of funny story versus Beach Read, I think that's really up to the day. Right now, I think I'd pick funny story, to be honest with you. But that's not why we're here. So I'm rereading Book Lovers for the first time physically, and I'm going to give it a proper shot. I do actually have it right here, and I'm really not far. I've only read chapter 1 of the prologue, so I'm on page 24. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to be reading much more of this today. I'm really tired. Yesterday was a very long day for me, and so I think I'm just going to do the absolute bare minimum in terms of being productive, and then just binge some YouTube and Vampire Diaries and really just treat myself to a little me day of not having to worry about anything. So I don't think I'm going to be reading much more. So technically, I'm only gonna consider myself officially starting this in a few days when I pick it up again. So far, it's already made a lot more of an impact on me than it did the first 2 times that I read it. I'm clicking a lot more with the main character, Nora. Everyone always talks about the banter in this book, and I never relate, and I think it's because I didn't remember it, but I'm already seeing why people love it just in the prologue with that little email section. So I'm excited. I definitely think that even if it remains a 3-star for me after this reread, I'm going to like it more, because that happened with People We Meet on Vacation. It only went up from a 3 to a 3.5. However, I really enjoyed the story a lot more because that's another one I listened to first. And so I'm definitely excited because regardless of how the rating changes, I know for a fact that I'm going to enjoy it more reading it physically. I just really, really wanted to reread Book Lovers. It was between this or Funny Story, rereading them, and I just really wanted to, I was ready to give this book another shot, and so I'm excited about it. This year, we're very lucky, so the summer is taking a while to hit. We're actually having a decent spring time, which is very rare where I live. Normally by now, you're sweating bullets. It's definitely hot, don't get me wrong, but we still have like cool nights and things, so it's definitely nicer, and I just kind of want to enjoy the warm weather while it's at a place where I can before it gets overly hot. And so I'm excited, and yeah, this is exactly what I'm in the mood for, and I am very excited because this year I haven't really figured out most of the time what I'm in the mood for, and so just picking this up, knowing that this is what I want, is very exciting, and I can't wait. So I'm on page 147, which is in the middle of chapter 13. And so far, the one thing I don't like about this book as much as the rest of her books is that the location, Sunshine Falls, does not feel nearly as live as in her previous books. It feels like in every other book that she's written except maybe Beach Read, the actual locations themselves had personality, especially Funny Story. The town that she was in was so much a part of the story and it was a character in itself. In this book, I just really feel kind of lost. I can't really imagine the town that well. I just imagine a very barren place with 3 stores and a cottage, and that's not really great. So it makes me really sad that she kind of lost that part because I really love that about her books. But yeah, so far, that's really it. So I just got to chapter 17, which is on page 190, and I'm about halfway through the book, and I have a complaint. So far, this feels a lot like Great Big Beautiful Life, where these two are so into each other. This book is very insta-lusty. If you know me, you know I love tension, and insta-lust is not tension-filled. They have wanted each other for so long. I'm not sure exactly from what point, but relatively around this point, they were already flirting with each other. And so that's very frustrating that they just want each other, because what's the point of all this? It feels like. And this just is not the type of romance that I like. And I feel annoying because I'm always complaining about the same thing, but this is not the type of romance that I like. And I'm really, really struggling with this a lot more than when I was listening to the audiobook both times. We just read the chapter at the town meeting, and it's just the only reason they're not getting together is because they work in the same field and she doesn't want to cross that line. The only reason I haven't DNF'd it is because I don't want to DNF it, because I don't want to mark it as DNF in Storygraph, and that's genuinely the only reason I'm continuing to read it. But I'm really not liking it that much. I'm not clicking with it, and I really hate that they have chemistry. They have great chemistry and connection and conversations, but there is no tension between the two of them other than the fact that she keeps saying they can't. As soon as she changes her mind, there's absolutely nothing stopping them from getting together, and that doesn't feel like tension to me at all. Hi. So I DNF'd it. I know some of you are probably screaming at their screens right now that I'm making a huge mistake by DNFing Book Lovers, but I couldn't do it. I really couldn't. A lot went wrong with this reread. First and foremost being, I read too many rom-coms in a row. I thought I was in the mood for another one. I was so excited and in the mood to read this one. And then about halfway through, just under halfway through, I DNF'd it at 42%, I think. I came to the realization that I wasn't in a rom-com mood anymore, and it was putting me into a slump. And so that was honestly the main reason I put it down, because I just wasn't in the mood for it anymore. And unfortunately, I am a mood reader. That's just the type of gal that I am, and I have to listen to it or else I'll put myself in a slump and then won't read for months, or force myself to read and just not enjoy anything. And so that is kind of what happened with this one. However, I also had other qualms with this novel that made DNFing it a lot easier for me. The second reason that I DNF'd this was because I just really did not vibe with this book that much. Having physically read it this time around, I do have to say that I completely agree that Nora and Charlie have excellent banter, and Nora and Charlie, they click incredibly well. But there's no tension to me. And hear me out before you yell at me, because I know people say this book's tension is amazing. So I know I'm treading on thin ice here, but I really don't think that there's any tension, because I personally don't like when there's tension purely because someone says, oh, we can't do this because of reason. It doesn't feel like there's tension to me because there's nothing that's actually keeping them from getting together other than one or both characters being difficult about it. Like, the reason Nora won't give in to Charlie is because they're in the same industry. And I'm not saying publishing is the biggest industry there is. It's not, but it's also not that small, you know? And she's talking about like, oh, but we're in New York and this and that. New York is what, the biggest city in the United States? You'll be fine. I don't know. I didn't think it was a good reason to not get with him. And then, like I said, I don't like tension that's there because of a character's decision necessarily. Which, if they choose not to be with that person, that's fine and valid. I'm not saying it's invalid, but I love when there's an external factor that is keeping them from getting together. For example, in Once Upon a Broken Heart, there are multiple love interests, but they're all gonna kill Evangeline, you know? Apollo, Jax, Luck, they will kill her, whether on purpose or on accident. And so she can't be with any of the love interests given to her because of that. And that's like a real thing. And then she wants to be with them, and you can tell through the lines that they want to be with her. And the tension is just so thick. It's like fog. And they actually legitimately, literally cannot get together because there's this physical thing that is stopping them. Whereas in this book, the only thing stopping them, like I said, is them working in publishing at the same company, I think, which is a bit blah, especially considering how many couples meet at work. And again, like I said, publishing, it's a small-ish industry, but it's also not that small. Usually, also, that's why I don't really like workplace romances anymore, because usually there's not tension to me, especially not when it's done like this. And then the other final reason why I didn't really like this novel that much is because I love when a setting or a place of a story is a character in itself. I love when authors make locations, homes, whatever else feel alive, and Emily Henry is excellent at doing that. Great Big Beautiful Life with Little Crescent Island. Funny Story with that town in Michigan. She brought those places to life so much that I am wanting to get on a plane and go there right now. And she kind of did that with New York City in this book, but one problem, we're not in New York. The place she brought to life is not the setting of the book, unfortunately. The setting of the book is in Sunshine Falls, North Carolina, and that would have been fine if she made the town feel alive, but she didn't. There was no passion for the town, and I felt it while reading it because I could hardly imagine the place. I couldn't see any of the scenery, and every time I tried, all my brain saw was a blonde woman jogging in like a barren wasteland. I couldn't even imagine the foliage in North Carolina. That's how little passion and love I felt for the setting of this book. And it really sucks because, like I said, I know Emily can make a location feel alive. Funny Story, Great Big Beautiful Life are two excellent examples, especially Funny Story. I think it's the best example of making a place feel alive. It's a character. It's its own living, breathing thing. And she didn't do that here, and that killed it for me. Everything else on top of me not being able to visualize the town that they're in, that plays a huge part in the actual plot and story, killed it for me. Overall, I really loved the characters, and I really wanted to push through for them. I love Nora, I love Charlie, I love Libby. But I wasn't in the mood anymore, and everything else felt underdeveloped. It really did. And so it just sucks. I don't know if I'm the problem. I really hope other people can relate to me because I feel like I'm the problem with this novel, but it just really did feel that way. I don't know if I'll ever reread this book. It's really such a shame, but it's my truth, unfortunately. I really would love to know your opinion on Book Lovers, especially if you agree with me on the whole setting debacle and the tension thing. Like, is that a me thing, or can you see it? If you like me or my videos, I would really appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye.